What's going on, guys? Obsessed Tackle back, and today we're going to do the rod and reel arsenal. So I've been a little busy, so I haven't been able to get this done as fast as I'd like, but hopefully you guys still enjoy the video. Leave a like if you do, and subscribe. Of course, if you want to see more content, leave a like and a comment if you've got some other video ideas for me, or if you want to see how I organize all my tackle, which is something I've been thinking about doing because I have so much. But yeah, let's get right into it. We're going to start off with the spinning rods, which I don't do too much of. I only have 4 in the lineup this year. But the first one, which I just picked up, is going to be a Cabela's Fish Eagle 7'6" light action rod, paired up with a Fluker Summit. I've got 8-pound braid, and it will go to 6-pound fluorocarbon, which is going to be my Trilene 100% fluorocarbon, which is really, really nice stuff. This rod is going to be used for small hair jigs and for spy baits. I enjoy spy bait fishing quite a bit, so I decided, you know what, let's pick up a fairly cheaper rod that I can make do. Next rod I've got is going to be my shaky head / tube rod. This is going to be my Cabela's XML 6'8" extra fast rod, paired up with a Shimano Sedona. This is going to have 15-pound braid. I believe it's Power Pro. Then past the leader, I'm sorry, I had a brain fart. The leader is going to be 8-pound Seaguar Invisax, which is something, again, everyone knows Seaguar Invisax. We love it. It's great stuff. So, next rod I'm going to bring up is going to be, I guess, one of my drop shot rods. Right now I have a Ned rig tied on, but this is going to be my Cabela's XML Bass Series rod, so it's a little bit different. Paired up with a Cabela's ZX Tournament reel with 10-pound Power Pro V-Slick to a 8-pound Invisax leader again. This setup is fantastic. I've had it for a couple years. It's pretty old, beaten up, but I can't find a setup to replace this. It's just bread and butter, man. Alright, next and last spinning rod would be my second drop shot rod, which I do have tied on. This is going to be my 7'3" Daiwa Tutuila Elite rod. It's meant for drop shots, shaky heads, underspins, but I've really grown to like Ned rigs on this rod, as well as drop shots, but small swim baits on here work fantastic too, like a 2.75 Rage Swimmer, which I don't have around, but like a 2.75 with like an 1/8 ounce head. Really, really nice pairing. This has the Daiwa Exceller on there with 7-pound Sunline Sniper, 7-pound Sunline Sniper fluorocarbon. That, and then the braid on here is going to be 10-pound Seaguar Smackdown. So I'm trying to give that a try this year. Pretty pricey. But we're going to give it a try. We'll give it a nice review at the end of the season and see how I like it. Next, let's start with cranking. Start with cranking rods. This is a Cabela's Tournament ZX rod with a 200 Corrado, an old greenie. This is kind of just more of a utility cranking rod if I don't really know how many cranking rods I need to bring. I have 3. I have 3. I'd like to get one more. That would be like a staple of 3, and then this would just be like a backup. But throws DTs really well, whether it's a DT4, DT6. Wouldn't go more than a 1.5 on this rod, which it really doesn't even throw a 1.5 very well. But 12-pound fluorocarbon on there. Next, let's go ahead and go to this one. This is going to be my Jacob Wheeler Signature Series Duquette. This is going to be a 7.2 medium heavy, paired up with a SLX and a 6.3 gear ratio with 12-pound monofilament. It's decent for 1.5s, but it really throws 2.5s really well, and it throws like 10 foots. Fantastic. I do kind of want to add another cranking rod to the arsenal. That would be like a 1.5 rod, but not in any rush to do that. This is going to be my Dobyns Champion 704 CB glass. This is my DT4s, my DT6s, and my Wiggle Wart rod. I paired up actually with 14-pound fluorocarbon, which is kind of different for me, using the Suffix Advanced for the first time. I'm going to give that a decent shot and maybe give a review on that. This is spooled up onto the Daiwa Tutuila SV. Really like this rod. The reason why I'm actually going with 14-pound test on this instead of going 12 or 10 is I throw DTs and wiggle warts around a lot of cover, whether that be rocks or timber or anything like that, and I really am tired of having to retie, so I'm hoping 14 will help me out there. Alright, next we'll go to my lipless rod, which is going to be my Jacob Wheeler Signature Series 7'3" medium heavy with 15-pound copolymer on there. I like throwing 15-pound copolymer on the liplesses because I like the sinkage that copolymer does have, but I don't want it floating. I don't know. I like copolymer on this setup. That's all I know. It's something that I really enjoy. Paired up with a Tutuila 100. So yeah, that's my lipless rod. Next, we'll go over to jerkbaits. This is going to be my jerkbait rod. It's a Dobbins Sierra 682. Really nice rod. Throws Vision 110s or shadow wraps or rip stops really well. Paired up with a SLX, just a regular SLX, 7.2 gear ratio, and this has 12-pound test on there. The 12-pound test, typically when I say I'm using 12-pound test, is going to be Bass Pro 100% fluorocarbon. This stuff's actually really good. Really impressed by it. It hasn't let me down in the year and a half I've been using it, or year I've been using it. Next, let's move on to my chatterbait rod, which I have talked about in the previous video. This is going to be my Duquette Micro Magic Pro 7'3" medium heavy, paired up with 17-pound fluorocarbon and a Daiwa Tutuila CT. I have this paired up with fluorocarbon for right now. Typically, I'll spool up my chatterbait rod the most. So I have two different lines that I use for it. Either 17-pound fluorocarbon, again being the Bass Pro XPS stuff, or I'll use Sunline Mono, which is in 16-pound. The reason why I switch between the two is if I know I'm doing a lot of shore fishing, I go over to the fluorocarbon. Typically they're not hitting at the bank versus when you're on a boat or a kayak. They typically hit it right at the boat. They love to do that. So I want a little bit of stretch in there, and that's why I go with the 16-pound. So if I know I'm going on a stretch of I'm going on my kayak or I'm going on a boat consistently versus bank fishing, I will spool up with mono. But if I know I'm going bank fishing most of the time, I'll spool up with fluorocarbon. So next we have my spinnerbait rod, which again is spooled up with the 16-pound mono by Sunline. This is my Duquette Triad 7'4" heavy rod. I really like this rod for spinnerbaits, but it's a really good utility rod, which is another reason why I use mono on it, because I can throw topwaters on this rod. I can throw spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, jerkbaits. If I really wanted to, the handle's really long for jerkbaits, but I can. That's what I love about it. This is a Abu Garcia SX reel on there. Really nice combo. Pretty light for what it is. So, yeah. Next, we'll move into some Topwater, which this is going to be my Topwater spook rod. This is a 7-foot medium Duquette Micro Magic, again, paired up with a Cabela's ZX Tournament baitcaster. I've got 40-pound braid, which I believe, I have no idea what braid this is because it's blue. It's throwing me off. But 40-pound tied to 12-pound mono, which I believe this is the new Strike King mono that I got in my Monster Bass box, which I said I was going to be using for toppers. So, ooh, I did not like that noise. Next, we've got my frog rod. This is going to be a Daiwa rod. I don't know what it's called. This was a Tackle Warehouse and Daiwa collab that they did. It is made for frog. There's a little frog on the back, which is kind of cool. 65-pound test, pound braid, I should say, which that is going to be Berkley X9. I went with the X9 instead of the X5 on the frog rod because I really want distance when I'm casting my frog. And I felt the X9 was going to give me the best advantage because it's smoother, so we'll go through the guides a little bit better. This is a Corrado K, and actually a 6.2 gear ratio. Wish I had it a little bit faster, but the Corrado K is a very powerful reel, which is why I put it on my frogs. Next is going to be, I guess it would be considered my buzzbait rod, even though I have a little swim bait on here. This is a really good kind of utility rod where if I want to throw like a swim bait, a buzzbait, a jig even, I can. This is a 7-foot heavy fish eagle, Cabela's fish eagle. Not a very expensive rod, so nothing to kind of show off to it, but 65-pound test, which again, I believe it is the X9 stuff. With a SLX, sorry, I had a little brain fart, SLX in a 8.2 gear ratio. I fish a dam right by my work, and I tend to catch a lot of pike, so I don't like throwing mono or fluorocarbon. I just go straight braid, so I don't have to worry about them breaking off. But this is a great buzzbait rod for when summer comes around. Alright, next we're moving into kind of my jigs and Texas rig rods, which brings me to this bad boy, which is my St. Croix Triumph Daiwa Viento, not a Tutuila, Viento. Has a little twitch bar on there, so I can press this and the handle goes. Kind of a cheesy concept, but I got it for a really good deal, and I bought it for a reason, and I bought it for the reason of right now. Right now, bass are spawning in my area, so this rod and reel pairing is fantastic, where I can just press the button and kind of move it right across their bed. It's a really good way to getting some finicky ones, where instead of having to slow roll it, I can just tap it ever so slightly and not move my hand off the rod. Off the actual handle, I don't know. Cheesy concept, I buy into it. This is going to have probably 50-pound test put on there, maybe to a liter. I'm not really sure just yet. I don't remember what I did last year, but that might be the way I go. Next is going to be my Cashion's rod. This is my 7-foot 7'1" medium heavy Cashion's Elite rod. It's actually made for chatterbaits, but I don't use it for chatterbaits. I use it for Texas rigs and for swim jigs. Fantastic rod for that. This is a good, it's a decent Tokyo rig rod too, that I've been getting a little bit more into, especially with the spawning coming. Tokyo rigs are pretty good for spawn. So this has 15-pound fluorocarbon, which is going to be, again, trilene in the gold box. That's what I call it, trilene in the gold box. Paired up with a Tutuila SV and an 8.1 gear ratio. Yeah, 8.1. Next, we have a rod similar to the Cashions, where I use them very, very closely. This is going to be my Dobbins Champion 735 jig rod. I throw primarily only jigs and heavier Texas rigs on this. Also, I didn't talk about on the Cashion's rod, I will throw smaller jigs on there, so like Bass Patrol jigs and Ike mini flips and stuff like that, I will throw on there. But 17-pound test over to my Daiwa Tutuila Arachnid, which you probably never heard of. It's a Cabela's exclusive, very nice reel, very powerful, which is why I have it on this setup. But yeah, I am actually thinking about going braid to leader on this. I'm not too sold on it yet, but I'm thinking about it. I'll wait till the line gets a little bit older, so I'm not wasting a full spool of 17 pounds. And the 17 that I use, again, right back to it, is going to be my Bass Pro fluorocarbon. I didn't talk about what I used on my jerkbait. My jerkbait's, not a surprise, going to be using my Bass Pro 12-pound fluorocarbon, which I buy in bulk spools because I go through it so much. Next is going to be my last jerkbait rod. or not jerkbait, Jig Rod, sorry. This is going to be my Duquette Micro Magic Pro 7'6" heavy rod. It's a really good flipping rod, not super heavy flipping, but decent. I throw 3/4 ounce weights, jigs on there, and I'll throw an ounce tungsten Texas rig out there. Paired up with 50 pound X5, Berkley X5 braid. Want a little bit more of that abrasion on there. This has a Daiwa Tutuila 150 on there, which is really nice. Bigger handle, get some power and torque behind it, in a 7:3 gear ratio. Alright, last and not least, which I have a fun bird's nest in there. I was casting this the other day, and my bait flew off, and it bird's nested in the process. So this is going to be my Cashion CRT A-rig rod. I've just gotten into A-rig fishing, so I wanted to get a decent A-rig rod that wasn't going to break the bank. Cashion's is definitely that budget, but also very sensitive. Another Daiwa 150 on there, 7:3 gear ratio. I'm actually spooling with 25-pound fluorocarbon now. I was using some older mono that I had on there, like some older 20-pound mono, but I said I'm going to go with 25-pound fluorocarbon. I use this for A-rigs, and I also use it for like S-wavers, Huddlestons, and different things like that. Just some bigger swim baits that this will hold it. It's a 7'11" heavy, so should do fine. So that's going to be it. That's all the rods that I've got to talk about. I have more rods in the corner that just don't have a purpose right now. I might sell some, but I'm not sure. This was the video though, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and leave a comment. What are some of your favorite setups? I want to know in the comments. Let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. I've got 2 ideas. I'm thinking I'm going to be going fishing here soon, and I'm hoping that I can get on some big fish for you guys. I've been trying to film a lot more, but I haven't been able to get on some decent fish. I've been only catching like small dinks that I don't want to catch and film. So I'm going to try to get some fishing videos done, but also I want to go through my organization with you guys because I'm very OCD, and I think I might be able to help you guys out. So this was 2020's Rod and Reel Arsenal. I'll see you guys next time.